Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever given your all to a man? Your time, your love, your loyalty, and still ended up feeling like you were never enough? Like no matter what you did, he just stopped valuing you the way he used to. Let me tell you something that might sting a little. A man doesn't just stop valuing you overnight. Sometimes, without even realizing it, you give him the blueprint for how to treat you. And it's those tiny things you overlook that slowly kill your value in his eyes. And no, this ain't about changing yourself to please a man. It's about protecting your worth. Because the truth is, you teach people how to treat you, especially men. So if you're tired of being taken for granted, ghosted, or treated like an option instead of the prize, you better stick around, because I'm about to break down the 4 silent value killers that are ruining your chances with the kind of man you actually deserve. Once you hear this, you won't tolerate less ever again. Let's talk about something a lot of women don't even realize they're doing, basing their entire sense of self-worth on whether or not a man wants them. Now listen, there's nothing wrong with wanting a relationship. There's nothing wrong with wanting love, partnership, or connection. That's human. We were built for connection. But the moment you start to believe that you're only valuable when a man chooses you, you've already handed your power away. See, a lot of women walk into a relationship already thinking they're not enough. So they show up with this invisible hunger, not for love, but for validation. And men can smell that from a mile away. They may not say it out loud, but trust me, they feel it. It's like wearing a sign on your forehead that says, "I'll do anything just to be chosen." Let me tell you, the moment a man feels like you need him just to feel whole, he doesn't feel admiration, he feels pressure. And pressure turns into disinterest real quick. You have to understand that you are already whole, with or without him. A relationship should add to your life, not complete it. If you're walking into love hoping it'll fix your loneliness, your insecurities, or your sense of purpose, you're setting yourself up for pain. Because now, instead of being a partner, you're depending on him to do a job that only you can do, make yourself feel enough. And here's the truth that most people won't tell you. The more you chase a man with that pick-me energy, the less he values you. Not because he's mean, not because he's a bad guy, but because you're telling him, without saying a word, "I don't believe I'm the prize." I believe you are. Ladies, you are not meant to chase a man. You are meant to attract one by standing firm in who you are, by knowing your worth, by knowing that whether he calls or doesn't call, whether he stays or goes, you still got you. That energy, that self-respect, that's magnetic. That's what makes a man stop and think, hold up, she's different. But when you come with that desperate energy, always trying to prove that you're worth loving, it's like holding a mirror up and showing him all the ways you don't love yourself yet. And guess what? If you don't love you, why should he? You have to flip the script. Stop asking, why doesn't he want me? Why hasn't he texted me back? Why is he acting distant? And start asking, why am I so eager for the attention of someone who hasn't even shown me consistency? Why am I making him the center of my world when he's barely showing up in mine? Because when you're full, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, you stop needing a man just to feel seen. You can enjoy the love when it's healthy, but you're not dependent on it. You can give love without losing yourself. You can walk away when it costs you your peace. You become the woman who's okay either way, and that's the woman men respect. Not the one who begs to be chosen, but the one who chooses herself first every time. Now, this isn't about acting cold or pretending like you don't care. This isn't about games. This is about balance. It's about learning that you are not half a person looking for your other half. You're a full, powerful, beautiful human being, And any man lucky enough to be in your life should be someone who adds to your joy, not someone who defines it. So before you start asking when he's going to love you right, ask yourself, have I loved me right yet? Because when you finally learn how to stand on your own 2 feet, when you finally look in the mirror and say, I'm already enough, you'll stop begging to be chosen and start being respected without saying a word. One of the quickest ways to lose your value in front of a man is to tolerate disrespect. And I'm not talking about big, loud, obvious disrespect. I'm talking about the kind that creeps in quietly, the kind that looks small at first, the kind you excuse once, then twice, then suddenly it becomes the new normal. Let me tell you something, what you allow is what will continue. If you let a man talk to you sideways, ignore your boundaries, cancel plans last minute, or play games with your emotions, and you say nothing, or worse, you stay, you're not just being patient, you're being permissive. You're teaching him that you'll accept less than what you deserve. And trust me, once you do that, he'll give you exactly that less. You know why? Because respect is not something you ask for with words. It's something you demand with your actions. And if your actions say, I'll stay no matter how you treat me, then he's already learned he doesn't have to level up to keep you around. You've made it too easy. And the hard truth is, what comes easy doesn't get valued. Some women confuse disrespect with a rough patch. Some tell themselves, he's just stressed, or he doesn't mean it. You start carrying his emotional weight. You start adjusting yourself so he can be more comfortable. You shrink to avoid conflict. And slowly, you start disappearing piece by piece. You start letting things slide because you love him. But let me ask you this, where is your love for yourself in all this? Because real love doesn't require you to be quiet when you're hurting. Real love doesn't ask you to pretend everything is fine when it's not. Real love doesn't live in fear that if you speak up, you'll push him away. And if it does, then maybe he's already halfway out the door and you're just the one still holding it open. When a man sees that you'll stick around even when he disrespects you, the respect fades. He may still like you. He may even say he loves you, but he no longer sees you as the woman he needs to rise up for. He sees you as someone he can play it safe with, someone who won't leave, no matter what he does. Let me be real with you, men respect boundaries. Men respect standards. Men respect a woman who respects herself. Not a woman who gives endless chances. Not a woman who stays silent to keep the peace. And not a woman who says it's fine when it clearly isn't. You are not hard to love. You are not asking for too much. You're just asking the wrong person to give you something they were never willing to give. And that's basic human decency. Disrespect doesn't just hurt your relationship. It chips away at your confidence, your self-esteem, your peace. And once those things are gone, what are you even left with? A woman who used to shine. A woman who used to smile for real. A woman who knew what she deserved until she let someone convince her to lower the bar. You don't fix disrespect by loving harder. You don't heal it by being more understanding. You fix it by drawing a line, by standing tall, by saying, I don't care how much I care about you. I care about me more. Because a man can't respect a woman who won't respect herself. And every time you let something slide that hurts you, you're telling him, it's okay to keep hurting me. But it's not okay. It's never okay. And the moment you decide to stop tolerating disrespect, to stop waiting for someone to finally value you, that's the moment your life changes. That's the moment you stop settling and start rising. That's when the wrong ones fall away and the right ones step forward. Because they see a woman who's not just looking for love, but one who knows she's worthy of it. You teach people how to treat you. So the question is, what have you been teaching? One of the biggest mistakes a woman can make in a relationship is trying to prove her worth by doing too much. Giving and giving. showing up every time he calls, fixing things that aren't hers to fix, pouring from an empty cup because she's scared if she doesn't give enough, he'll leave. Let me tell you something that might hurt, but you need to hear it. A man will never value you more because you gave him everything and asked for nothing in return. In fact, the more you give without boundaries, the more he starts to expect and the less he appreciates. And I get it, you're not doing it to be taken advantage of. You're doing it because you care. You're doing it because you think if you just love him hard enough, show him how loyal you are, be there no matter what, eventually he'll wake up and realize how lucky he is. But here's the problem. When you give like that without limits, you don't look strong. You look desperate. You look like you're trying to earn a place in his life instead of knowing you already deserve one. And the moment he senses that energy, the energy of, I'll overextend myself just so you'll pick me, he may enjoy it for a while, but he won't value it. Because real value doesn't come from doing them the most. It comes from knowing when not to. Let's be clear. There's nothing wrong with being a giver. There's nothing wrong with cooking for him, supporting his dreams, being there when he needs you. But when you're doing those things while he's giving you the bare minimum, when he's inconsistent, distant, emotionally unavailable, and you're still showing up like a wife when he's barely acting like a friend, that's not giving. That's self-abandonment. A man can't respect you when you don't respect yourself enough to say, hey, I deserve effort too. I deserve presence too. I deserve someone who meets me halfway. You'll become the woman who gives and gives and gives until there's nothing left. You end up drained, emotionally empty, wondering why he doesn't appreciate all that you've done. But the truth is, he never had to earn it in the first place. You handed it all over without requiring anything real in return. And when there's no price, there's no value. You're not supposed to be everything for someone who's not even sure if they want to be anything for you. You're not supposed to carry the emotional weight of the relationship by yourself. Love is not meant to be a performance. You don't have to prove your heart. You just have to protect it. There's power in holding back when it's not being reciprocated. There's power in saying, I care about you, but I care about me too, and I won't lose myself to keep you. Because when you set boundaries, when you stop overgiving just to feel needed, you stop attracting men who take. You start attracting men who match your energy, men who see your heart, and instead of using it, they honor it. You deserve to be loved without having to constantly earn it. You deserve to be chosen without sacrificing your own needs. You deserve someone who shows up for you the way you show up for others. Not because you gave everything first, but because he sees your value before you even lift a finger. Let that be the standard. So if you've been overgiving, it's time to pause. Ask yourself, what am I trying to prove? Why do I feel like I have to do the most just to be seen? Because the woman who truly knows her worth doesn't pour herself out to be accepted. She stands tall and lets the right man step up, not because she begged, but because she knew what she was worth and refused to settle for less. That's the kind of love you deserve. But it starts with you giving that kind of love to yourself first. One thing that quietly kills your value in front of a man, without you even realizing it, is being too available. Every time he calls, you answer. Every time he texts, you respond in seconds. You rearrange your schedule for him. You cancel plans for him. You let him know without saying it out loud, you are my priority, even when I'm not yours. Now look, there's nothing wrong with being kind. There's nothing wrong with being interested in someone and wanting to spend time with them. But when you're always available, when you're too accessible, it starts to send a very different message. I have nothing else going on. You're the center of my world. And whether you mean it or not, that kind of energy takes away something powerful, your mystery. Men are drawn to what they can't fully predict, to what they feel they still need to earn. When you hand yourself over too quickly, when you make it too easy, you remove that sense of challenge. And without challenge, interest fades. Let me put it simply, people value what they have to work for. If he didn't have to earn your time, your presence, your energy, then why would he try to keep it? Some women think being constantly available is how you show love. But in reality, what you're showing is overinvestment too soon. You're showing that you'll be there no matter how much or how little effort he puts in. You're showing that he doesn't have to prioritize you because you've already prioritized him before he's even proven he deserves it. And it's not just about playing hard to get. It's about knowing your life doesn't stop just because a man called. It's about having your own goals, your own passions, your own routines, and sticking to them. Because that's attractive, that's powerful. When a man sees that you're not just sitting around waiting for him, that you're not constantly checking your phone to see if he texted, it tells him you have a life and that he has to earn a place in it. But when you're always the one reaching out, always the one saying yes, always available, he may enjoy the attention at first, but it won't hold his respect. It won't build value. It becomes too predictable, and what's predictable loses its excitement. You also have to remember, men are wired to pursue. If he doesn't have to wonder where he stands with you, if he knows exactly how much you want him without having to put in any real effort, then you've flipped the roles. You're doing the chasing, and the one who chases the most is often the one who gets taken for granted. You need to protect your time. Protect your space. Protect your energy. Not because you're trying to play games, but because you know your worth. You know you have things to do. You know your life is full, and anyone who wants to be part of it has to add to it, not just expect access to it 24/7. And here's the other thing, when you keep a little space, a little mystery, you give the relationship room to breathe. You give him room to miss you. You give the connection a chance to grow without being rushed. Sometimes the best thing you can do is not text first, not cancel your evening just to be with him, not say yes when your gut says, I need time for me today, because when you stop being too available, you start becoming more valuable. You start showing him and yourself that your time is precious, that your world doesn't revolve around a man, that you're open to love, but not desperate for it. And that's when the right kind of man takes notice, not because you chased him, not because you were always there, but because you weren't afraid to let him come to you. Nothing will drop your value in a man's eyes faster than constantly needing him to reassure you. When you start begging for validation, asking over and over, do you still like me? Why didn't you text back? Are you mad at me? Do you still find me attractive? It shows him something deeper than just insecurity. It shows him that you don't see your own worth, and you're expecting him to give you what you should already know. At first, he might answer sweetly. He might say the right things. But over time, it turns into pressure. It starts to feel heavy because instead of letting the relationship flow, you're holding it hostage with your doubts. You're trying to glue it together with constant questions, looking for proof that you're still enough. And the truth is, the more you ask for validation, the more he starts to pull away. Not because he doesn't care, but because the energy shifts from confidence to emotional neediness. And let's be real, confidence is attractive. A woman who walks into a room knowing who she is, knowing what she brings to the table, not needing to be told every 5 minutes that she's loved, that's magnetic. But the moment you start doubting yourself out loud, begging for reassurance, checking in constantly because you're scared he's losing interest, you start to lose the very thing that made him interested in the first place. Why? Because no one, not even the best man, can carry the weight of someone else's self-esteem. It's not his job to constantly prove that you're worthy. That has to come from you. Otherwise, you'll always be chasing his approval. And when you're chasing, you're no longer standing in your power. Sometimes we do it without realizing. A late reply turns into anxiety. A short conversation feels like rejection. You assume he's distant when maybe he's just tired or busy, so you send another message, then another. Then you over-apologize or over-explain or ask, "Are we okay?" even though nothing was wrong. And each time, a little piece of your confidence disappears, and he feels it. Here's what you have to understand the moment you start begging for someone to confirm your place in their life. You've already given them all the power. You're handing them the pen and asking them to write your worth. But your worth isn't something he gets to define. It's something you already have. When you know that, when you really believe that, you don't need to keep asking where you stand. You don't panic when the phone's quiet. You don't need him to constantly remind you that he cares, because you're secure enough to know if he's for you, he'll show up. If he values you, his actions will speak. And if they don't, you'll walk away without begging for answers. And let me say this clearly. Asking for clear communication is healthy. Needing respect is necessary, but needing constant emotional rescue is not. That kind of neediness doesn't build connection, it builds pressure. And pressure makes people run. When a man sees that you need him to constantly hold you up emotionally, he starts to see you less as a partner and more as a responsibility. He may start to feel like no matter what he says or does, it's never enough. And once a man feels like he's walking on eggshells, like your happiness depends on his words every day, he stops feeling excited to talk to you. He starts feeling drained by you. But when you show up with self-assurance, when you smile, live your life, love yourself, and let him love you without controlling the process, that's when he sees you as someone who adds peace, not pressure. Someone who uplifts, not someone who constantly needs to be picked up. So if you found yourself looking for reassurance too often, stop and ask, why don't I feel enough without his words? Because the truth is, you were enough before he met you. You'll be enough if he leaves. And you'll still be enough no matter who stays or goes. Validation from a man feels good, but it can't replace the power of validating yourself first. Because once you do that, you no longer beg for love. You attract it fully, freely, and without fear. There's something deeply damaging that too many women do in relationships, and that is accepting less than they know they deserve. They see the red flags. They feel the distance. They know deep down they're not being treated right, but they stay. They stay because they're afraid. Afraid to be alone. Afraid to start over. Afraid that this is as good as it gets. But let me tell you this with all the love in my heart. Every time you accept less than what you know you're worth, you're teaching that man how to treat you. You're showing him that bare minimum is enough, that he can ignore your needs, show up halfway, disappear emotionally, and still have full access to your heart. And the longer you tolerate that, the harder it becomes to walk away. Because now you've gotten used to crumbs. You've adjusted your expectations down. You start saying things like, well, at least he's not cheating, or hey, he's just going through a rough time, or maybe I'm asking for too much. But deep inside, you know you're starving for love. You know this relationship isn't feeding your soul. You're staying not because it's fulfilling, but because it's familiar. And that's how value dies, not in one big moment, but slowly, over time, as you accept less and less. You silence your voice to avoid arguments. You lower your standards to keep the peace. You compromise your happiness because you think, at least I have someone. But listen to me, having someone who doesn't honor you is lonelier than being alone. Being in a relationship where you don't feel seen, heard, respected. That's not love. That's settling. When you accept less, you don't just lose their respect, you start to lose your own. You look in the mirror and start wondering,
what happened to me?
when did I stop believing I deserved more? Because deep down, you know you're not supposed to chase someone's attention. You're not supposed to convince anyone to love you right. You're supposed to be chosen, not tolerated. You can't build a healthy relationship on top of disrespect, neglect, or emotional laziness. You can't pour your whole heart into someone who barely shows up for you and expect to feel whole. And you can't keep hoping he'll change one day. That if you just wait long enough, love him hard enough, forgive him often enough, he'll finally treat you right. Because here's the hard truth: what you allow is what will continue. If he knows you'll accept silence after a fight, that you'll forgive without effort, that you'll stay no matter how little he gives, why would he ever change? Comfort makes people lazy. And if he's comfortable doing the bare minimum while still having your full presence, what motivation does he have to step up? You want him to treat you like a queen. Then you have to stop acting like a placeholder. You have to believe that walking away from disrespect is not weakness, it's strength. You have to know that it's better to be alone with dignity than to be with someone who makes you question your worth. Love isn't supposed to be confusing, painful, or one-sided. It's not supposed to feel like begging for scraps. It's supposed to bring peace, security, joy. And if what you're getting isn't love, then why are you holding on to it so tightly? You deserve someone who chooses you with clarity, not confusion. Someone who listens when you speak, shows up when you need them, and meets you with the same effort you bring. And the only way to attract that is by making a decision. I will no longer accept anything less. That's how you raise your value. That's how you stop being an option and start becoming a standard. Because when you finally say, enough is enough, the wrong ones will walk away. But the right one, he'll rise to meet you where you stand.